Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to Rowing Friends.
Yay.
So we're gonna do a little week in review for rowing. So I'll let Kate start and let her share her rowing news.
Okay, sure. So thank God it's been a beautiful week. Like we had great weather this past weekend. Sunday was ahead of the Hudson in Albany, New York. And it was really nice because we were all done with racing by 2 o'clock, even though there was a huge delay in the morning. During like smack in the middle of the men's masters singles, which I have a friend who was in that, and I was standing with his wife. We were waiting to see him go by, and we kept seeing all of the other people in the race coming that were bow numbers before him
Mhm.
coming back to the dock, and like, did we miss him? What happened? But we had seen a huge barge go through. And so he, luckily, I think for him, hopefully got held up right as he was in the chute. So I can't remember. I think he said he may have had a really big wake, but it might have been just during the chute. And then once that safely passed, then they restarted the races. Um,
Okay.
and let's see. So Hannah's team did really well. They won the points trophy, so that was great.
Hey.
And the other really fun fact, I know you probably saw this on my Facebook, but my high school coach,
Mhm.
his daughter was
Mhm.
in the same boat that my daughter was in. So that was kind of a funny little flashback moment, or just interesting connection there. So
Full circle, full
full
circle.
circle, yes.
Aw, very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, so this week in rowing for me, I found out that I will be in the Rowing in Color Black Women's 8.
It's
So
awesome.
yeah,
So
it's
proud of you.
yeah, I'm so excited. It's so cool to have that opportunity, and I will be in two seat. So I think the race is at like 120. It's the women's club's eights. So yeah, we met everybody via Zoom
Hmm.
and kind of was chatting with everybody. I am the oldest person in the boat, which is fine. All the other girls and they're little, well, they're not girls, young women. Um, all of the other women in the boat are we have one high schooler.
Wow.
And then there's a good handful of college students and like graduate degree people. So yeah, everybody's super sweet, super nice. We're using Crew Lab to send our workouts back and forth. I've been posting my workouts on Instagram in my stories and Facebook too. So I'm just trying to keep up. Like so, this morning was what did I do? 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off by six. I did like a 10-minute warm up, so I did like a 4-3-2-1, but all of them were supposed to be at 32.
Oh,
So, for the younger athletes listening, so hopefully we have some younger
yeah.
athletes listening. When you get older, 32 and like yeah, gets to be something that doesn't come as easily as it used to. So
Hmm.
I think like the first two pieces, I totally overstroked it. Like I was at a 35. And then
Hmm.
so I was like, okay, I gotta like calm it down a little bit. 31. Don't you love when you get the 31 average? You're like 31. And then the last two, I was able to like hold it right at 32. So, but
Nice.
I wouldn't be surprised if these college students are going to be like pushing 34, 36 for this race. So I'm
Yeah.
just bracing myself for the idea, turnover, 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 and just be
Hmm.
comfortable with the moving, the moving, the moving. So
Yeah.
so that's some news rowing wise. And because I learned that I was going to be rowing sweep, and I do, if you follow me on Instagram, I do a lot of sculling. Every once in a while, I'll jump in a sweep boat to like fill in, but it's not something I do consistently. So we took the double riggers off of the dumpster double and put the
Uh-huh.
pair riggers on. And I
Oh.
grabbed these super old sweep oars that someone had given me, and
Hmm.
we went out and rode the pair yesterday. And
Awesome.
yeah,
How did that
yeah,
go?
it went well,
Okay.
like I haven't rode a pair in a very long time, so
Mm-hmm.
I had totally forgotten about the idea of it's really not your own deal. Like you have to
Mm-hmm.
really work together. I was, she was pulling me around, I was pulling her around, and then eventually we kind of met in the middle. The steering, we had taken the steering out originally because I'm like, I'm never gonna use this steering. I'm not gonna put these hair riggers on. So then I had to do a call with Wintech. I was like, how do I restring this? And
Oh
so
boy.
we put them back in. It's not
Mm-hmm.
100%. I'm probably gonna have to pull it back out, and because the strings have to come like they come from the bow, they come out on the sides. There's like these little eensy weensy holes. They go back into the stern, and then it's just kind of like inside the stern, all kind of
Mm-hmm.
wonky. And they have to kind of, I think I need to string them so that they don't hit like the little stays and stuff in there. I think the strings are like, as I'm turning my foot, are like kind of like hitting different things inside there. So I want
Oh.
to kind of reevaluate how I put them in. So,
Mm-hmm.
but shout out to WinTech. Thank you for whoever was running the phone calls on customer service about a day ago because they were able to talk me through everything. And the other thing is that because I usually bow
Mm-hmm.
in the double, and so I'm gonna be rowing port, so we had to we had to starboard rig it too. So it was like the most like upside down and backwards type of rigging experience. It took us about an hour and a half. Like we like, oh, we got 2 hours, because she finished work and I finished up at the clinic, and yeah, we spent an hour and a half of that time just fiddling around with like, oh, that back stay has to be taken off and put back on this side and reorganized, and
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Oh,
But it
it's a
it
lot.
it was a lot, but it was so fun having like a sweep bore in my hand.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just, and it was a wooden handle. It was heavy. It reminded me. It definitely reminded me of back in the day. Yes.
So when I did the Head of the Charles, the only time I ever rode the Head of the Charles was as an adult, and it was back in 2021.
Mhm.
And it was with three other people that I row with still now, although one of them I don't think she's rowing this year, but um and then we had a high school student that we had known who was in college that what their her team wasn't racing at the Charles. Um and it was so much fun. But we had old oars, so we had brought them. They were wooden handles, and our coach wanted to ask Concept 2 if they redid them because a lot of our team
Yeah.
they like the wooden handles, and they kind of laughed at us and said, "These are absolutely the oldest oars at this regatta." Like pretty much like you should be embarrassed to still have these in.
Oh, I like
Um,
we need to have a podcast moment about old equipment.
yeah,
Like
I like
we need
that.
to like I don't know if we need to kind of bring this like vintage idea, classic car-ish kind of idea to
Mm,
growing because
mm-hmm,
like, not for nothing, that heavy ore, because it had that heavy feel, like I
yep,
felt like I could feel my blade work. Like
mm-hmm,
and I could feel and I could because it had some weight to it, when I gave it the tap down, I could feel the weight, like I
mm-hmm,
could pop it and turn it
mm-hmm,
with and like with the oars being so light now, like I get it, yeah, the
mm-hmm,
performance, blah blah, but like I think the input that we
mm-hmm,
had way back when was so helpful. And I think that there is value in the older equipment.
mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know.
No, well, what you're saying is actually very interesting and true from what I experienced when I got back into rowing. So, I didn't row for years and years and years. And then when I got back into rowing, it was just kind of casually and like didn't really think much of it. But I realized as I was working with some coaches that were younger and that had more like recent knowledge of using more modern equipment, the style has changed. And a lot of it has to do with us using different equipment back in the 90s. And now like to be efficient, you change your style, which is very interesting. Like we were very much and no, it wasn't just our team. I mean, I'm talking different teams, different people who rode for different teams, but same time period, it was that fast hands away.
Yeah.
And now it's
Hmm.
not. It's
It's
like
It's not.
slow at the finish. You almost
Mhm.
pause, you
Yeah,
know.
everybody loves the gather, like,
Yeah, the
and I
gather.
get it. Like,
Yeah.
as far as the gather, like, making sense from, like, a biomechanical sense, like,
Mm,
yeah, the gather does make sense because it keeps the continuity of the quicker hands. Because if you pause, you have
hmm
to move the handle with a little bit of movement similar to that of higher rates. So I get it
Right.
for, like, teams who need to practice that, who need to keep their hands kind of like not the fast hands away, but like they need to keep their hands kind of moving
hmm
in order to mimic like once you get up to 32 and 34
Right.
and 36 that there's this continuity of like there's a speed to the handle. And so I get that, but like but I think a lot of coaches miss the point of like at one point you have to get rid of the gather. Like there is no
hmm
gather when you're
hmm
at 34. So
Right, right.
so as like, what does it look like at 26? What does it look like at 28? What does it look like at 30? And I don't know how
hmm
many people actually get that message. So a lot
hmm
of times people are just like, boop, they're hanging out and we're supposed to be
hmm
at 28 and then they're just like rushing up the slide. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm like, that's not how it works, not how any of this works. But
Yeah.
but I get it. I like it
hmm
for like the balance moment. It does
Yeah.
kind of get everybody together. It does
hmm
kind of give this centralized spot. I mean, it's almost like pausing at the finish. I mean,
Yeah.
it it kind of brings everybody to one place, but
Right.
yeah, yeah, fast hands away. Yeah, back and
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely something that is still ingrained in me. And this week, I've been
forth.
uh, rowing. I've been good. I missed Monday though. Got stuck in my garage, um but Wednesday we were practicing and we got to go up pretty high. I mean, Adrian, I think we hit 31, but
Ooh, love it, love it.
but yeah, I can tell because I was stroking. My
Mhm.
instinct is when bringing up the rate, I know I have to push with the legs, but I can just see
Feel it
my
in the
hands going
hands.
faster. They're
Feel it in
going
the
out
hands.
faster. There's
Feel it
nothing
in
I
the
can do
hands.
to stop it. It's a yeah.
Yeah, because
hmm
that's how we learned turnaround too. That's
Yeah.
how we learned how to get out was that
hmm
fast hands, and
Yeah.
it's very interesting, like those little habits that you pick up, and um, we had someone kind of go by us, one of the coaches yesterday, and so we're like, "What do you think?" And he's like, "Well, Adrian, you're a little bit like as you're coming out of the finish, you're making it so muddy and just kind of like flipping the blade right back on the water because I was trying to training wheel it." And
Yeah.
that's when I noticed that when I could feel the input from that oar as I popped it out at the finish. I'm like, "Oh, this is so nice." Not a feeling that I get from my croakers. So I have a
hmm
set of croakers that I sweep with or scull with, and
hmm
it's such a light feel
Yep.
that you can't like even if you're sitting there and just doing finish drill, you really but this oar had some, like, love to it, some weight. I was just like, "Oh,
Yes.
it's nice." Like, I can feel what I'm doing, which
Yeah.
with these lighter oars, a
hmm
lot of times you can't feel that, and
Yeah.
I think, that's where a lot of these kids have trouble with blade work because, I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't have a different feel. It's
hmm
you have to kind of internalize what your body needs to do in order to make that feel, so, I don't know.
So interesting. And then you've got people like us and older than us
Yeah.
and, that are teaching people who are using totally different equipment.
Yeah.
So it is very interesting. But yeah, we should definitely go on a deep dive of like antique. I
Oh
would
my
love to,
gosh,
I would
like
love to row an old wooden boat someday. Wouldn't that, well, yours is, right? You're
oh, yeah,
single?
my single's got it's from 1981, so
Yeah.
it's fiberglass and
Mm.
it has wooden gunnels.
hmm
Really old style rigger setup.
mm
So not I think eventually they moved away from this very like they well I talked to Pine They said they moved
hmm
away very quickly from this rigger setup. So
hmm
it's like a traditional like just the two stays and then the rigger sits on top or the oarlock sits on top of it.
hmm
And you know how Pine usually had the ones that kinda go down and into the boat, like it's all one piece? Like, it's like 2
Oh,
separate
okay.
riggers.
Okay.
And then it's got like a C-clamp, and then the oarlock sits inside there, and then the whole thing sits on side of, like a square with, like, all these different holes on it, And I
Hmm.
think you can take the actual like setup, the C-clamp setup with the oarlock on it and move it to different holes. Like that was like a
Oh,
way to kind of move the oarlock around.
interesting.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. Like trying to
Hmm.
figure out how can we get some adjustability into this. Um,
Hmm.
but very interesting. And I would love to row like a wooden single. I mean,
Mm.
and now that I've gotten into varnish and all that type of stuff, I'd love to kind of go like Boys in the Boatish and like get
Yeah.
a full like wooden boat and like restore it or something like that. They say they have a wonderful feel to them. So,
Mhm. Well, you got to get the oars too, right? It's got all a match.
oh yeah. Well, I have a set of Makins. I
Oh,
got when
nice.
I got my oars, I got three set of sculling oars from
Hmm.
a man down in New Jersey. I forget his name. He was Oh, he's from Philly. I forget what club he was from, but he was getting new oars. And so I got three sets of oars. I got a set of croakers, a set of like Vortex Edge smoothies,
Hmm.
and then a set of Makins. And the Makins are so old that the handles are dry rotting. So
Hmm.
like I'm definitely gonna do a video at one point when I take all of it off because I might not even put a new handle on it or new grip on it. I like kind of the wooden. I wonder I was
Hmm.
gonna call Concept 2 and like see if I can like, kind of score it like they do with the sweep oars.
Hmm. That'd
And
be
then
interesting. I
yeah,
don't know how I don't know. I'd have to think about that, see how that would feel.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
don't know.
might
I was
be interesting.
convinced yesterday when I went back to the wooden oar, I was like, wow. I was like, no wonder these are nice. Like,
They
because
might, yeah, they might make a comeback.
I know, because I mean, the kids complain about like when I was coaching high school, I don't like the green grips. The green grips are awful. I
Oh
feel like
yeah.
the green tears my hands apart. Like
Yep.
it just, and it's always like it's really slippery, or it's too tacky.
Yep.
Um, So yeah, and then the suede you have to like replace all the time. It's
Yep.
starting to peel. Like so, I mean, there's pluses and minuses to all the different types of handles. But I kind of I liked palm on wood. I thought that felt good, but maybe it's
Yeah.
just nostalgic. I don't know.
Well, I do appreciate, so we have two sets that we use depending, and sometimes we have two eights. So one we'll use one and the other one we'll use the other one. And one of them has that green and then the other one has the suede. And I just feel like, wow, this is so fancy. I do like the suede, but you're right. It does tend to fall off very easily. So
Yeah,
constantly like the upkeep of that is a lot.
yeah. Easy to
Mm.
replace though. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's true.
yeah, it's just
Mhm.
peel off and put it back on. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's cool about it. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to have like a deep dive equipment talk at one point.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like fun. Yeah. So do you have anything going on this weekend for rowing?
Hmm, nothing for rowing. My kids
Hmm.
are doing cross country right now, so we're
Oh,
going to
okay.
be cross country parents this
Hmm.
weekend. We have our big invitational, the McQuaid Invitational is coming into town. So all the high schools from everywhere, kids running like 13, 14 minute 5Ks or whatever it is. It's like, yeah, they're running so fast. It was just kind of like, oh my goodness. Like I can't even imagine like moving my body that quickly through space. Like it's kind of fun to watch them with big old smiles on their faces and
Aw.
like, like running like I'm like, enjoy it while you're young, kids.
Did you, I know you just did a half marathon, right?
I did. So
Yeah.
it's been 2 weeks since the half marathon, and I haven't put my running shoes back on at
Uh-huh.
all because I did four half marathons in one year. So I did one in January, one in April, one
Hmm.
in July, and then one in September. And when I did the last one, like my left hip wanted to talk to me, my foot wanted to
Mm.
talk to me. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep the running shoes off for at
Hmm.
least 2 weeks. I might go running tomorrow. Like
Hmm.
I was trying to figure out I want to go back and run again when like I'm really like, ooh, I really would like to go for a run. So
Hmm.
so it might be tomorrow. I don't know.
So
My
did you get to the point where you actually enjoy it
running?
running? Yeah.
Oh, I that's an interesting question. Not to go into a deep dive. I had talked to I have a breathing therapist that I work with, and he had he was poking at me about like why do you run? Like what are you
Hmm.
doing? Like what is this for? Do you enjoy it? And like and after being a day after because I saw him like a day after I did the half marathon, and I was kind of like, I'm never running again, and blah, blah, blah. And now like about 13, 14 days later, I'm like, I want to go running tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that like I really need to, as far as like any exercise, as far as like rowing or running, really find the joy in why
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it. And like I know I love it because it keeps me healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then there's also the competitive side of me is like a lot of times I'm like, oh, I run because like I just want to be able to do it. I want to do it fast. I want
Yeah.
to be the best I can be.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. So like making sure that I'm not doing a lot of exercise for the wrong reasons. Like
Yeah,
I think like
that's good.
as you get older, you have to kind of like you only have a certain amount of energy
Mm-hmm.
and like how much energy do you want to put into performance and like even the idea that I was training for the Charles stuff while I was training like in the last 3 weeks of half marathon training probably not the best idea. um my body like wasn't happy with me but in my mind I'm at the point now where my mind is way stronger than my body and
Mm,
like and I can really really push myself so like I think
mm-hmm.
that that's something that is good to understand
Yeah.
that because like I mean as you get older I believe that your mental toughness gets like 100% like better. Like I was looking at um old like half marathon times and I'm going way
Mm.
faster than I did when I was 20 something.
Wow,
So
that's
it's just
great.
kind of like you can really do a lot. You can
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it is like mental preparation. And
Yeah.
we should have a podcast about mental preparation too for rowing.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
definitely a topic that like and then as you get older, like what does that mean? Like how
Mm-hmm.
do you prepare differently? So that you don't hurt yourself so you can go to work on Monday.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, I did one half marathon. That was when Chris was deployed. The kids were really little. So when I was training, I was literally taking them out in the double stroller.
Oh,
That was those were my training runs. And I was happy to do it. I ran the half marathon with a really good friend of mine that runs. She was
yeah.
a cross country runner in college and high school and college, and then coached it for a little while. And we used to run with our jogger strollers together. I mean, I enjoyed that part of it. I was very happy to get through it. And afterwards, I can pretty safely say that I don't know if I'll do another one. It did motivate me to want to do a full marathon, let's put it that
Mm,
way.
yeah.
And then I've done quite a few Boilermakers, which is like the what is that, 15K?
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I don't know. Running, I don't know if I've gotten to the point where I actually felt good on a run. If I was training a lot. I would not have ever run if it wasn't for rowing because you
Mm,
can't really avoid running if you're
yeah.
any kind of rower, unless you're like a master's rower like me, which is very casual. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I always felt pain and probably needed like good orthotics or better sneakers or better stretches or whatever. My body just doesn't really like to run that much. But I have to say I have very fond memories of rowing with or running with rowing
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
I just remember distinctly like two things that were like on spring break. We did this whole scavenger hunt in Augusta. I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember if you were there
I
that time.
I don't know.
It might have been my senior year. I do remember we were in groups. We had a scavenger hunt and
Oh,
it was like a
cool.
relay scavenger hunt thing. It
Mhm.
was a lot of fun. But by far I was not the fastest runner. Um
We had some
it,
fast runners on the team,
we
though.
did.
We had
We
people who
definitely
like,
did.
yeah, definitely like
Mhm.
straight up cross country backgrounds. Like I ran cross
Yeah.
country in high school, but didn't run cross country in high school. Like we had
Yeah.
some people who were really, yeah.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. And then running at night, which I would not recommend by
Mm,
yourself, certainly. But we ran, I think there was at least three of us. We would run around the North Campus. And if it was really hot, it's really nice to run when it's dark because the sun
mhm,
doesn't zap you of your energy. So,
yeah.
but please be careful. I mean, that is one thing I will say. They
Mhm,
drilled into us at
mhm,
UB because of
yeah.
Linda Yalem and the Linda Yalem run, the
I don't
awareness
think I
of,
ever because of that, I don't think I ever did the trails there. I did the
yeah,
trail yeah, I did the trails when like when it was either that race, because I think the race used those trails,
Yeah,
and then
parts of it. Yep.
I think maybe we ran some of the trails like in practice, but I never ran the trail because it was, like
Yeah.
it was something that everybody knew about, and
Everybody knew about. Yep.
yeah.
And if I run on trails, we have a trail system right near our house.
Mhm.
Um, I will see sometimes women running alone, and I just want to stay, please, like have somebody
Exactly.
to run with, or like because it is scary. But anyway, total tangent, but yes. So
What
running,
are
I was curious to hear if you actually
I
got
do
to the point
enjoy
where you
it.
love running,
I
because
yeah, I wouldn't.
I don't know if I'd agree with
I
that
think
for
I think we have
myself.
a, I think Running and I have a relationship. Like
Hmm.
I love covering the ground. I especially love that like I can run distance comfortably. So like when we're on vacation, like I'll wake up early and I'll run 3 or 4 miles out and I'll run 3 or 4 miles back. So then I'll be able to see what's like around where we are and then be
Mm,
able to like come back and be like, oh, we should go to this restaurant or we should go see this thing or I went down the boardwalk and I saw this. And so I love being able to do that, like to be able to like on foot-ish traverse like vacation areas. I mean, like
hmm
most of the time I have it's kind of my time to listen to podcasts. It's my
hmm
time to kind of move around. Like my neighborhood has all sidewalks and there's like very small bits and pieces where I have to run on the road, but it's few and far between. So I
hmm
can do most of my mileage on sidewalks and safe. If I
hmm
couldn't do that, I probably wouldn't run as much as I do because it's just super convenient. And
hmm
I did start running a lot more when the kids were little because it was
Yeah.
just like if they're going to take a 2 hour nap, put them in the bike
Yeah.
hut and run out as far as I can and then walk back or
Hmm
continue to run. And eventually I just got to the point where I could just run all an hour out, an hour back. And the kids they
hmm
were asleep the whole time and I got my exercise in and it was just a
hmm
way to kind of like
Yeah.
get out and see the world because like when the kids are so small, like you're stuck at home, like when you're
hmm
home with them. So
Yep.
it's just but I do want to ask you a question about distance rowing. Have you thought about like I mean, you've heard about like these coastal ladies who go across like the Atlantic
Oh,
or
yes. I just
yeah.
read the book. Wait, who gave it to me? Donna. Donna who rose with me. She gave me the book A Pearl in the Storm, and I loved it. I devoured it. She's definitely a more intense person than I am.
I like the ones that like I've seen a couple where
Like
they've
the
had
crew.
like a couple people, yeah, a crew, like a
Yes.
crew of
Yes.
four or something like that. Like
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
keep those thoughts going about
I
that.
love
And
that.
I do have an idea. I've talked to some of my clients about this. I have one client who has a coastal single and he does row it on Lake Ontario.
Hmm.
So I would love to do Rochester to Canada and that's about 50
Yes.
miles, 70K or something like that. So
Wow. So this is a great segue into, so not this week. So this weekend, quickly mention, this is our home regatta. I don't know when we're going to post it, probably after this, but so the Mohawk Fall Classic, that's what Burnt Hills / Erie Canal Athletic Club, because it's kind of the same but a little different. But it's our home race this weekend and it's in Scotia, New York, and it should be really I get excited about it because it's the water that I grew up rowing on. And my daughter will be rowing in it. I will be rowing in it. I have to bow steer, which I absolutely do not enjoy,
nice.
but at least it's my waterway, so I know where to go.
You know where you're going.
And it's my son's first race. So
Oh
I'm
my
very
God.
excited. The three of
Oh,
us.
that's so fun.
So we just got to get my husband back into it and then we can all enjoy it. But
Yes.
yeah, it should be a good Saturday. I'm helping out like pack packets and everything, and it should be good. I'll probably end up helping park cars at the end of it. But so that's this weekend. The weekend after is the same team that I'm part of. It's the marathon row.
Oh,
And this
okay.
started technically, I think they said it started in 96. So I think that's right, because that would have been my senior year of high school. And I remember doing it as a rower. And we start in Schoharie Crossing, which is almost exactly 26.2 miles from our boathouse. And
Uh-huh.
we go through, I think it's 5 locks.
Oh, wow.
And so all the boats that are there, they go through the locks all together. They do like triples. So they have like the oars all connected and across
Oh
everyone's
yeah.
laps.
Hmm.
And then, the motorboat. So we usually have a couple family motorboats that are with us, and then the launches. So the family motorboats kind of like carry all the supplies, like lunch and stuff, and like some of the parents. And then we move those to the launches, move those to the kids in the boats. Bathroom breaks are always interesting because none of the canal stops have their like parks open. So
Oh,
it's a lot of sometimes we did it one year as the Masters. We have people that want to do it again, and I absolutely do not want to do that again. It's mostly because of the bathroom situation. We had to like get in the water, climb over all kinds of stuff to get into the island and yeah, do our thing out there. So
oh,
anyway, that was distance. It
oh.
was not what I would say similar to like what you're talking about because it was really like you're going with the current. So you're waiting a bunch of times once you're out of the lock, you're waiting for other boats. It's a lot of sitting and waiting and not rowing, rowing for a little while, waiting for the rest of the group to catch up, getting in the locks and waiting some more. But we go, 26.2 miles and
Oh.
it's kind of cool, it's kind of cool at the end of it. It takes all day, but we have a big party at the end and but yeah, but the idea of like traveling,
Yeah.
like a Ragnar relay almost, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would be cool. And I know we've talked, in our team, we've talked about that, but the logistics, there's a lot. But anything like long distance, like as a
Mhm.
means of transportation, I would be down with that. I think that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I just think it's a cool way to kind of to go those distances, and you
Yeah.
don't ever think about, like, we always think of rowing as out and back, like, we never
Mm-hmm.
really think about it as, like, getting to a destination,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
would be just a different way to kind of think of it, so, I don't know, maybe
Definitely.
we'll have to put together something where we go some distance, like,
I
we'll
love
see.
that. John Burdick did that on his bike. So he did the Erie Canal from
Beautiful connection.
Albany to Buffalo.
Yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, one of our local teams does it as a, like, as a fundraiser during the summer, but
Hmm.
it takes them a
Yes.
long time, and
They stop at our boathouse actually.
oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like, so it's cool, but
Hmm.
they do have to stop at
Hmm.
the little canal parks, and
Hmm.
I went and met them to do kind of like some, like, mobility work and stretching and that kind of thing, like, maybe 2 years ago, and it was funny because it's a bunch of high schoolers, so some of them are wearing rings, like their class ring. I'm like, "Dude, why are you rowing with a ring on for, like, 1,000 miles?" And then, like and then when the boat arrived, like, there's no dock, so it's like one of these
Yeah.
wet launch kind of
Yeah.
environments. However, it's the canal, so, like, the shore is, like, littered with, like, these big pointy boulders, and they're trying to, like,
Yeah.
get the kids out of the boat and then get back in the water and get the boat and handing it up over the shore, and just, like,
Hmm.
it was definitely I went like this a lot because I was like 'cause, as a coach, I would have been like, wait a second," but, they had their own people
Yeah.
there, but yeah, it's tough to kinda get in and out of the canal when you don't have,
Hmm.
a dock in there because it's just not set up that way. I mean, it's so rocky and
Yeah.
slippery too, so
And there's no boathouses basically like I think in between Syracuse area. Like there may be like Hamilton, but I don't know if it's on the canal. But if
Mhm.
so, that's still quite a distance. And
Yeah,
then pretty much Union College would be the next one, which is in Schenectady. So it's a huge part.
wow.
Once you get like, because then you get to Syracuse, right? And then you get out towards where you are and then to Buffalo. So there's like a little bit more periodical stops. But yeah, like that whole stretch near Utica, I don't think there's any boathouses on that. So there's no convenient place. I mean, maybe there's like canoe or kayak ones, but they probably come out
Yeah,
early in the
yeah,
season. So,
mhm.
yep.
Wow.
Oh, that'd be fun. We should definitely
Yeah.
continue that conversation. I have not found anything else out about Buffalo, I did reach out. I haven't heard. I reached out on their Instagram. I reached out via their email on their website, and I haven't heard anything. I was kind of bummed too. Their website has this like link for past members. I don't know if you ever saw
Oh,
that,
no,
but it
no.
doesn't work.
Doesn't go
So,
anywhere. Oh,
yeah, and there's a form to gather information about alumni, but who knows where that's going
yeah.
because I don't know who's in charge of that or who has access to that. So,
Well, I was able to get in touch with someone who's on the team right now,
oh
and
yay.
she's like the VP of
Okay.
the group. But she had to check in and see what the dynamics were about
Okay.
the team and how
Yeah.
much they can kind of talk at this point. I think they're still
Yeah.
trying to gather membership. She didn't give me
Okay.
really a lot of information, but I think she's new to the position. She had to ask and make sure that it would be okay
Okay.
to kind of chat about what they're doing. So, because I know that's kind of
Okay.
different things have been going on. So,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. As soon as I hear back, I'll probably try to bother her again, shoot her
Mhm.
another IG direct message and see what she says. So,
Cool.
yeah.
All right. So you got through on IG, but I didn't. Did you go to the UB
Oh,
rowing?
I went directly to the girl that I know. So,
Oh, okay. So you, okay,
yeah,
gotcha. Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
so let's hope we have a continuous update and maybe if they start, if they're in races, we can promote that and
that would be amazing to be able
yeah.
to cheer them on
Hmm.
and maybe I don't know if they'll come to the head of the Genesee. Maybe they will be. Maybe
Hmm.
if they're there, then I will ask. I will track
Hmm.
the people down and try to figure out, what's going on.
Hmm.
Potentially, I don't know what I'm gonna do for the head of the Genesee. I might row, I might not. I don't know. I think they could really use some volunteers. So I think like maybe I
Mm,
should like sit on shore and like take the weekend off because it's the weekend before the Charles now. So
okay.
so I'm like, maybe I should just do what would be really helpful, which would be like
Mm.
being available to whatever they need me to do. So yeah.
So which day are you rowing? Is it Saturday or Sunday?
Um, I could if I rode club with the colleges, I would do Saturday. If I
Okay.
rode masters, then it would be Sunday.
For the Charles?
Oh, for the oh no, no, that was for
Yeah.
the UB Genesee. For the
Oh,
Charles,
okay.
it'll be Saturday at